everybody, and welcome to the Weatherboys podcast. We're very excited about today. We've got a very, very interesting, very special guest. We're going to get to in just a second. But first, how you doing, buddy? How's your week
just drank my coffee, and I feel real jazzed. I
Really?
feel real good. You know how I get sweaty? I'm very affected by the caffeine.
Was it cold?
Yeah, it was lukewarm. It was tepid.
Only cold coffee for Alan. That's all he does.
Yeah, I don't like the warm stuff. Well, I pour it.
But wait, to clarify, not like a cold brew or like iced coffee. He pours hot coffee and then he lets it sit for 2 hours to get cold.
Yes.
Then he will drink it. That's
It's not
the cold
cold.
coffee.
It's lukewarm. It's room temperature. It's warm in here. It's, what is it, 68 degrees in this building? It's fine. Yeah, it doesn't taste good. I don't do it for the taste. I do it for the effect. I have to have food with my coffee, some sweets with my coffee, because otherwise I get really jittery, and sometimes I still get jittery, and I had a nice little donut today. How was yours?
If there's one thing that everybody can agree on, it's that lukewarm beverages are the way to go. That's we all love.
Oh, I know.
Lukewarm Coke.
I know.
Right?
It's disgusting. Yeah.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Oh, gosh.
I think you'll
I
find
don't
this
think I have
funny.
a choice, do I?
So, I'm not the most fashionable kind of guy.
No.
I
What?
try.
No, come on.
I give it an effort.
Do you?
But on the way out the door today,
Is this about your shoes?
No. Oh, now I'm self-conscious about
just
that.
kidding.
So
Oh my
on the way out the door, my wife stops me, and Alan's friend, good friends with my wife.
She's great.
She stops me and she goes, "Oh, you're not wearing that. You're not wearing." She goes, "You're not wearing those pants, are you?" And I was like, "What's wrong with these pants?" And she goes, "They're a little tight." And I was like,
that's not your fault.
They're supposed
That's
to be
not your
kind
fault.
of
We're
fitted.
given the thighs that we have.
Right. It
You
is
know what I mean?
it is.
Like, you're fine.
And I was like, they're like the shorter style, and then I could wear the loafers without any socks. I thought it was a good look.
I noticed the loafers.
Yeah, she was like, "You got to change." I was like, "I ain't changing. I gotta go."
Yeah, I thought you looked good. I just was thinking, like, I like the loafers. Actually, I thought the loafers looked good.
Really?
My thought was, like, it's hot outside. It's sweaty. Like, how are your feet not sweating?
Well, they are, but they're cooling off because they're exposed loafers. Like,
Oh, okay.
right? No?
I don't know. I'm happy for you. And this is good. It's important to go outside of your comfort zone. I'm really proud of you. The people are proud of you, Derek.
I'm trying. Otherwise, you want to know what? Because otherwise, I'd wear gym shorts and tennis shoes with socks up to my shins.
Show us those thighs, man.
And you want to know where I bought all that stuff? Costco.
Oh, yeah.
Just where Dad's shop. That's
yeah.
where Dad's shop.
Yeah, you're a great dad. Yeah.
All right. Our guest today, we're hoping that he might be able to help us a little bit with our image, with our brand.
Yes. Oh, look at you. What a guy.
Robert Courtney Collins. He is a social media strategist, brand manager. The guy knows his things, and we have a million questions because I feel like the Weatherboys, like the brand itself, is doing good on TV, but not online. And I would like to see it do better online. So hold on, let's bring him in. Here he is, Robert Courtney Collins.
Thank you.
Wait, does he give a speech now?
No,
Are we done
but
talking? What happened?
I punched up the shot where he's now included in the discussion.
Got
I was
you.
waiting for the
I know. I was like, dude,
applause sound
like, what
effect.
is this?
We'll do it in post.
What? First of all, can we
Fix it
talk
in
about your
post.
name? Because it's fantastic. Robert Courtney Collins. Like, what? I mean, come on, movie star.
Yeah, I am Robert Courtney Collins the fourth. Oh, I'm sorry, the third. And my son is Robert Courtney Collins the fourth.
Why would you ever change that?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Can I be Robert Courtney Collins the fifth? I would like to do it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Let's go. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Robert Courtney Collins. I do think from here on out for the rest of the interview, I will call you by the full name. It's far too cool not to.
Yeah.
Help us out because it's something that you specialize in and something that the world has been moving this direction for a while now. Is the brand.
Yes.
Whether it is your individual brand, whether it is your company's brand,
Yes.
Branding is more important now than ever.
Yes.
What is your experience with it?
So I've been in this space for probably 15 years consistently, and I've watched the conversation around brand change drastically since I started. And the thing that really intrigued me was very early on, I was a big Air Jordan guy, and the Michael Jordan story still to this day is, to me, like one of the greatest stories ever told because, in my opinion, the word brand, when you think about it, there's no better way to explain what a brand is than using the Air Jordan shoe. Like that was, for pop culture, kind of in my opinion, like the beginning of really recognizing the strength of a brand. You take the Jordan logo and the Nike symbol off that shoe and it's no longer anything.
And
right?
Derek, he's a basketball player.
Jordan. Robert Courtney Collins?
Jordan.
Oh,
Michael
Michael
Jordan. Michael Jordan's a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
Just
was
in
a
case
basketball
we were
player. Just,
wondering what the Jordan brand was.
Yeah.
But with that being said, so that was kind of like early on one of the main things that really drew me into just wanting to understand if we could do this with it, if Nike could do this with the shoe, what else can you do this with? And this is pre-social media and the evolution of what brand has become when it comes to like content and, you know, using it from a digital standpoint. And so now I've watched it turn into basically, if you don't have a brand, you literally don't exist online, you know? And so there's this fight, there's so much content being shared for people to basically create uniqueness and separate themselves from everybody else that's basically doing the exact same thing.
So how do you, like, there's so, like, who should post? I feel like I think about social media so much. I don't post often, but I have this constant, like, feeling that I should.
Yeah.
Like, this should be on there. But then I'm like, then my brain, it literally makes my brain crazy, Robert Courtney Collins, because I'm like, everybody else is posting, and why should I? And what's the point? I'm not a brand, I'm a human. What do you mean? But, like, it can be what you want it to be, I guess.
Absolutely, 100%. Our main role we play in the majority of the conversations we have with personal brands, businesses, et cetera, is just clarity. I call it social media mindset. And so my job when someone comes to see me exactly in the scenario that you just described, where there's just 1,000 thoughts constantly spinning around what should I post and what shouldn't I post, it's me simplifying what that strategy should look like. And for
Does
us,
it change?
It could evolve. It definitely could change. I mean, you walk around as a husband, you walk around probably as a businessman, you walk around as somebody who loves hobbies, right? And so depending on where you are during that period of time, the way that you interact probably changes a little bit, right?
But the strategy behind what you post and when you post it and how you post it, that all matters depending on what your desired outcome is.
Correct. So then that's a conversation that each individual has, right? What is my goal for utilizing social media? Am I trying to grow a following? And am I trying to establish awareness? Am I trying to drive traffic somewhere? Am I just trying to understand how I want to show up when it comes to social media? And what if a person is confused about that, I think the foundation of it is just clarity around yourself. Like it's clarity around like who you want to show up as an individual online. If you can set that foundation, everything else becomes so easy because now you're just documenting who you are on a daily basis.
Oh, okay. Why does any of it matter? Why can't I, and this is just for the sake of discussion, because I'm with you. I'm with you.
I love this conversation.
But I live in this world. Yep. I mean, this real world that I live in. Why do I need to cultivate my online persona? Why is that important?
Your online persona is now important because people's perception of you is now based on who you show up as online. Whereas once upon a time, on your real life perception, your online perception was based on who you showed up as in person. And now that's flipped because people tend to see you more on social media than they do in real life.
I have trouble figuring out, like, when I see someone, like there are close friends, yes, but then there's a bunch of, like, soft acquaintances. I'm like,
Correct.
Did you tell me this? Or did I see that on your feed? Like, you know, and so, like, I have the same question as you, Derek, but I also have the answer. Yeah, it's because we're all online all the time.
The soft acquaintances are the ones that actually dictate probably 80% of our reality. The things that drive business, the things that gives you credibility, you know, all of these decisions that affect you that aren't based on the people that are really close to you matter. And so because of that, how we show up online becomes really important.
I see how this matters if you're a small business owner. You own a pastry shop.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you're presenting this image of your company online that will draw people in.
Correct.
What if I'm just an accountant and I clock in at 9, I clock out at 5, Monday through Friday. Does it still matter for a person like that?
Absolutely. That's personal branding. So it doesn't matter if your existence, meaning how you generate revenue for yourself, how you show up at networking events, like if the things that you do outwardly and from on a daily basis, if it doesn't matter in that regard, then it don't matter what you put on social media. But if you're trying to drive new business, if you're trying to keep business, more importantly, if you're trying to maintain a reputation amongst colleagues, yes, it absolutely matters, because if you're not creating personal brand on a daily basis, someone who does the exact same thing that you do is. And the opportunity for an emotional connection to be built with that person becomes highly possible.
Did I hear you say daily?
Daily.
That you said daily. Is that a rule? Is that a solid rule of thumb?
Boy.
It is very important to create a cadence that you can do consistently. And so daily would be my recommendation if you are trying to gain traction in a way where you want to use the platforms to generate new opportunities. And I didn't say business, new opportunities.
Yeah.
More specifically, I preach use social to generate new conversations, because conversations is a starting point for any opportunity, right?
Yeah, it's networking. Yeah.
Networking.
That was a light bulb moment for me when you said that. So networking. Because social media is the new age networking.
Absolutely.
We used to have to go to conferences, shake hands, pass out business cards, and that's how we network.
Yes.
I never even considered it till right now that if somebody looks me up, me networking is my social media.
That's it.
It's almost scary.
I love when the light bulbs go off. It's funny.
It's rare for Derek, but on occasion
There's
he
a
has
couple
one.
of years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's a meme or some pictures floating around, and it's showing the comparison of what 100 people look like at an event and how we view 100 people liking a post or being followers of ours across a platform. And then it goes like 1,000 people. Then it goes like 10,000 people, right? And it's like
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, and we've lost context around what having 100 connections actually looks like and feels like. In real life, we appreciate it, but when it comes to social, we don't. And it's sad because a lot of the friction that happens, a lot of the mental blocks around why people aren't consistent, why people get anxiety, why they spin ideas, is simply because they're worried about whether people are going to like or engage or follow. And those are the wrong metrics, especially in 2020.
Yeah, I love the first thing. Well, I met you before, but then I saw you right before I reached out. I saw the interview you did with our colleague Bree Teamer, and she said to you, she's like, "But Robert, what do you mean, Robert Courtney Collins? But what do you mean? Like, what is it? I have 300 followers. What influence do I have?"
Right.
And your response was it totally changed. It totally, which is basically that. But respond to that. Like, what does 300 followers matter?
I mean, this is, again, a very common. We work with real estate agents, work with insurance agents, loan officers, like these individuals who want to use social, but they have paralysis over the idea that I only have 300 followers. I only have 400 followers. And I want to, it's like if you go to the gym and you're running on the treadmill and you need to run for 2 miles, but you don't want to see the actual numbers spin, so you put a towel over it and you just run and run. Like, this is what I want people to do for their follower count, because the algorithm has completely shifted. And the way the algorithm works now is driven on interest, is driven on relatability, and people look at posts for the post, right? So once upon a time, we would go to somebody's profile and we would analyze. First of all, we would look at the follower count. And then based on the follower account, we would establish credibility of that individual. So if this person had 100,000 followers, instantly we felt like this person has something to say.
Yeah.
Right? Because of all the scams, the fake people, like, the people who have misled people to believing and they're not really who they are, we no longer perceive someone to be who they may appear to be just based off of their follower count. On the flip side, if you sing a single post, like you've seen a single post, a piece of content that I did with Bree and it resonated immediately for that one post, that created the next action, which was a message and then a conversation. And then now I'm sitting here in front of you, right? So it's about the piece of content versus the overall.
And you know what's funny? You know what's funny? I saw the post. I watched the video, the whole video. It was like a 2 or 3 minute video. And that doesn't often happen for anybody on there. And you know what's funny? I don't even think I liked it.
You
know what I mean? And I don't know if it was you or Bree who posted it, but like we obsessed, or maybe I'm just speaking for me. I freaking obsessed, bro.
This is the change. This is the shift that's happened over the last 2-3 years, where liking and following is like signing a mortgage.
Yes.
What really want
to. You're right.
You will not like and follow. It's subscribing even more so.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to subscribe because I don't want to be inundated with things.
Because we now understand the algorithm.
Yes.
And because of that, we're less likely to do behaviors that didn't matter once before. So the metrics are slightly and subconsciously changing right up underneath our eyes. And if you're not in it every day like we are, then these are things that you wouldn't naturally recognize. You're just using your own instincts. My job, my fascination is understanding why. I want to know the behavior of people and why they do what they do. And for me, it's no longer like the metrics, the followers, like none of that stuff never mattered for me. But we're in testing mode on a very regular basis. So we'll put out things. We have probably 30, 40 accounts. And we're literally testing accounts.
When you say those are your accounts you're working with, or like you have accounts that
our agency has.
Oh, that's 30, so interesting. Yeah.
Where we're testing.
Daily experiments. Yeah.
And we're doing research. Like, because every single profile, based on when it started, based on the interest, based on the category, based on the industry, like there's so many different reasons for an account to perform and to engage that you would never believe.
And what are you finding? What are you so far?
That there's no rhyme or reason for anything that happens. Like you could open your account. You both can open an account on the exact same day, same industry. You could choose media. You could choose content creator. You guys could both start posting. His account could blow up. You're posting the same content, doing everything the same. But because you chose one category and he chose a different one, his account could get 100% more engagement than yours just from the simple category difference.
Can you change the category later?
You could change it later, but then that might tweak the algorithm in a different way because you started it differently.
So how you must like uncertainty. You have to, this is your job. You must like this because it sounds so frustrating. There's a right answer, but there's no right answer, right? You have to get as close to it as you can.
Correct. It's us constantly looking for framework that we feel can be sustainable across the board. And so this is why the algorithm is you. The social media platform is you. And this is what I preach, social media mindset, which is something I think I made up, but maybe not. But it's this mindset shift to understand that if you can operate on social as if it is just documenting who you are, you're going to have the most success. This I know for a fact based on test after test, because now the algorithm, we all have communities of people that enjoy the same things we do, right? Like we know this to be for science, right? Yeah. This is science.
Interests bring us together.
So the closer you can get to your natural self, the closer you can get to your authentic self, the way that you behave on a regular daily basis, the more likely you are to grow a following of people who identify and relate to the things that you like.
We've learned that in television, for example, local news. I mean, authenticity matters now more than it ever has. That old school, hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 o'clock. No, people don't want that anymore. We don't want that anymore. That's not authentic. Just talk to me normally. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what the weather is. Tell me what the news is. And so that is a lesson that we as a collective have begun, if not already have learned.
Right. And we already, like a lot of the stuff we know, it's just how do I put it into the context of social media platforms? And so back to the original point, which is we encourage people to just create 3 buckets, 3 things, 3 areas of your life that you want to use or that you're comfortable sharing authentically across your platforms. Personal story is one we lean into heavy. That's just daily challenges, daily experiences, daily interactions that you have with people that you're comfortable sharing. The business or profession that you're in, you know, you guys are in news, you're in media, you're in journalism. Share with us what you actually experience on a daily basis at the place that actually pays you. And then third would be something that you like to do outside of that. So that would be like a hobby. So that's golf or basketball or, you know, something that you actually enjoy, fitness. If you stick to those 3 things in terms of framework, everything else is in addition to that. Like that's base level. Those are the human relatable things that you will naturally attract people who enjoy similar things.
So you're like a therapist too.
Yeah.
Right.
1000%.
I mean, you have because this is a vulnerable thing to not only like send it to my friends, but to whoever. I mean, I don't know, whoever. You're right. It's out there in the internet ether. Anybody can see it.
That's it. What I mean is if I can get clients, and I work with a lot of CEOs, I like work with a lot of like high level execs because they're looking for clarity when it comes to their social because they don't really have the time to figure it out, right?
Yeah, but
They're
I've
so
also
busy
learned
with
there's
so many
there's not
things.
a lot of clarity because it changes.
Well, it changes in terms of strategy and tactics. This is what I'm saying. This stuff doesn't change.
Okay.
This stuff is always consistent. And I feel like it's the easiest thing to be consistent with because it's just you. It's just you being open with you. But in those CEO conversations and situations, we find that if we bake these things in as a starting point, usually the building process becomes a lot easier because then you can add on the extras. I want to be a nationwide speaker, or I want to blow this podcast up, or whatever else it is. These things draw people in, and then they expose the thing that you want to showcase to the rest of the world.
It's clear you're an expert at this. How did you become that? Like, how did life take you here?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Fascination with people.
Derek's very proud of you. Derek, yeah.
It's been my fascination with people has been since I was 7, 8 years old. More so in bringing people together, believe it or not, like just the idea of why white people don't always agree with black people, or like why segregation even happened in the first place. And some of that probably had to do with me. Like as a young kid, my dad got transferred to Georgia when I was 9 years old, and Georgia was very behind the times in terms of school integrations and like how people talk to people and things like that. And it didn't make me mad. It made me curious. Like I just didn't understand where the disconnect was, what caused the friction, in the conversations. And so I just was always asking questions around those things. And I feel like, and this is probably the first time that I've ever said this, but I feel like social media was the first opportunity to do real life research where I could really dig into people's lives as much as I absolutely wanted to, with no blocks or nothing stopped me from learning more about random individuals. Not because I always felt like the celebrities and like the people who had the spotlight, they were politically correct, right? Like they had to show up a certain way. But regular people who had nothing to lose, like those were the people that I wanted to learn about. And so social media gave me the opportunity to do that.
That's a really important distinction that you draw on, and I don't think it's one that many people have naturally. Was it natural for you to get curious, not mad? Because I think everybody who's listening could understand why you would feel anger in response to what you described, but curiosity it's more helpful. It allows 100%. You to figure things out.
Yeah, I think if you talk to my 5 closest friends, they would probably all say the same thing. Like, I've always been the person to look for perspective. Like, I'm always trying to empathize and understand. Like, even if you have every reason, like, there's probably a perspective that I can draw from the situation. But yeah, the curiosity the curiosity to understand why, I think, is at the root of probably everything that I do.
And that's just, you just remember, that's just in you, right? As long as you can remember, that's been the way your brain works.
It probably has a lot to do with my dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Like growing up, I feel like growing up, my dad was always the peacemaker. Like he was always like, not saying that he looked at it in a curious way like me, but he always brought reason to every conversation or every situation. And even when it came to things that I would do wrong or my siblings would do wrong, it was always very question based. Like it was never like rage. It was always like he made us talk through or answer questions to get to our own answers as to why what we did was incorrect.
He took the children seriously.
Yes.
And he engaged with them as such. That's beautiful.
This was a previous guest that we had talked. That's what Alan's referencing that. But
I'm referencing your father's wonderful parenting.
And but it is interesting that a lot of our themes tie together like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another one. This is another, I mean, the idea of doing exactly what you said. I mean, it does tie in nicely.
Yeah, and you talk about like, we do go online, right? I feel like I've in-person time with you has been under an hour. And you know what I mean?
We played in two celebrity basketball games together.
Yeah.
That was probably like
that was with
thanks for the invite, guys.
Next year. We saw your loafers.
I was available. I had nothing going on.
Yeah. Well, this July, I mean, we're doing it again, right? I imagine this July.
I think she just put something out for us.
I think I'm busy.
We've lost both times. So.
But the comeback was epic.
The comeback was incredible.
Well, okay, first of all, so Detour, we have to talk about this now. So, first, forgive me, I forget the organization name.
The lady's name is Diamond.
Yeah.
And her organization is, I don't remember the name of the organization.
They do great work, prom dresses.
They help women, unfortunate women with different things.
Yeah. And one of them is prom dresses, and I know they have this event, and it's delightful. It'll be the last 2 years. It was in July.
I think it's July again.
And we play DPD, so it's just a bunch of randos, and we play DPD. And I had in my mind an idea of like, I love police officers, great, but I had in my mind like
Cops
not
and donuts.
athletic. Thank you, cops and donuts. These guys roll up. They're like all 7 foot, and they're running plays.
They play regularly. Like they play in leagues regularly. Like people know DPD.
What are
they're
they, the
running plays.
Monstars? What's going on?
Yes. So it was.
No, they're quality basketball players.
Yes, they are. But we came back. Either way, that's a detour. My point I was trying to get at was, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of who you are based on your Instagram. Like you put some stuff out there, I'm like, oh yeah, like this resonates with me. Like it. So that I say, why does it matter? But I know why it matters because this is the way we act.
I have a question about why certain other things matter. So I don't know if you know Bo Burnham, who Alan's heard me talk about far too often. Okay. He's a comedian, but he's got a bit about brand managers.
Okay.
And it's a satire bit about how Frito-Lay's has to take a stand on racism, and how Nabisco Oreo cookies, we need to know how you feel about sexism. Right. And but that is kind of a trend that we have seen.
Yeah, for sure. Since 2020, it's been very, very common.
Why? And does it matter?
I think it matters because people connect brand with their own identity. And so when you think about who you are, the brands that you connect yourself with are brands that you feel believe in the things that you believe or relate on a level that you relate on. So if this is a brand that you've been following and you've developed like this emotional, that's like branding to me is the action of creating an emotional connection with your consumer or your audience, right? If it's not an emotional connection, there's probably the branding is off or you don't have a real relationship with the brand. And a lot of times that happens through messaging, but more importantly, it happens through our actions and the things that we do. And so when it comes to these brands, a lot of times the consumer and the audience will be 100% on board with that brand as long as they're in line with the things that they believe in.
Does the research show that? I guess that's my question is because
absolutely.
If
we watch it happen all the time.
Jordan Brand came out and posted something on Instagram that you didn't agree with.
Yes.
Would you stop buying it?
Absolutely.
And does data back that up?
It would impact my buying decision. And you think about it right now, like the whole DEI thing, right? Like we're watching it happen over and over. You have a brand come out and say, we're no longer supporting DEI. And all of a sudden you have an outlash of people, having comments and feedback, and I'm never shopping there again. And we need to boycott this particular brand, like Target.
Target's been a big one.
Yeah, Target was under, and Target was interesting because they have such strong DEI programs that were in place that supported like minority businesses. And then they came on and said, it's not, and I don't want to misquote, but they were keeping a lot of the programs. They were just rolling back against some of the framework for what DEI actually was. And so, there's a lot of minority owners who, just because they decided to not support DEI anymore, it doesn't mean that now all of a sudden these minority brands aren't on the shelves.
Right, sure.
So if you say you're not supporting Target,
right,
then that means you're not supporting the brands that you're probably trying to support.
Shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah,
exactly. Makes it complicated.
It's a very complicated thing. So it's very important. It's like social media is no longer, the gray area is being sucked out of social. And so you have to choose a side, and you have to be comfortable and okay as a brand with the side that you choose.
So your experience and your research has shown that bigger companies do have to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fascinating.
Have to probably isn't the word. It's probably in your best interests in terms of loyalty, brand support. What they say, 80% of your sales is based on like 20% of your actual consumers, right? So your 20%, and this rule kind of applies to all of us. This isn't just like big business. 80% of the people on social will never buy from you, but they will influence the 20% that does. And so you're really on social about creating brand ambassadorship, like people that talk about you in rooms when you're not there to talk about yourself. What did you have a question?
Well, I just wanted an acknowledgement. Can we acknowledge that's a lot of work? So
to have a stance on everything?
No, it's a lot of work to use social media to be an ambassador for the 20%, for the 80% that will influence.
You're an ambassador and you don't even realize it, though.
You're right. But I guess my point is like if you owned a small coffee shop and you stood outside and you held out free samples, you're directly impacting the customers that are coming in. Right. But what you're saying is, and I get it, and it's true, but you're impacting the 80% that aren't even shopping there. Correct. But you're just building an ambassadorship for the other people. Yeah. It's a lot of work for anybody.
But that's what the end of the day, like that's business, like that, and that's what I'm trying to explain.
Don't be lazy,
like
Derek.
The big,
Jesus, man.
The big businesses understand that we have a loyal fan base that keeps us in business. This loyal fan base pays the bills, right? And so we have to be oversensitive and almost, we have to make sure these 20% stay happy.
Right. Sure.
So that's like VIP membership programs. It's like I just heard Costco has the largest membership program ever created. Mm-hmm. And they
so get at my clothes.
You talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's his.
I forgot about that. You just brought Costco up, and so that's so interesting. But Costco's marketing strategy is probably one of the greatest ever, especially as it pertains to treating customers at a certain level and making you feel like you are getting things that the rest of the world don't.
They are psychological ninjas. I spend $200 every time I go there, and I'm thrilled because I can get a hot dog and a lemonade for $1.50.
Exactly.
And like I know I've heard the stories that like the CEO is like, we will not increase the price of the hot dog.
Yes.
And I'm a sucker for that. I will keep my membership for that reason alone, even though it doesn't necessarily, I don't even know if it makes economic sense to me. I have no idea.
Yeah. And they go out of their way to make sure that what you're getting is premium, and when it's gone, it's gone. And so it's little subconscious things that they do that keeps you so engaged. And my point in saying all that is it's the emotional connection that's developed with your core followers that matter the most, because their conversations is what impacts the rest of the world. And if you think about like the Bay Hive, or you think about like, you know, like these fan clubs for music stars, this is what it's about. Like, they're driving the narrative in the conversation. If you don't follow Beyonce closely, you'll read something from someone who does that will make you believe what they say is true. And then now you just developed a narrative about her and you never even thought about it before.
Yeah, I won't post any. I don't post much, but maybe I should post more. I would never post anything about Beyonce for fear of her fan, of the Hive coming at me. So you've done this for a while, 15 years, and like it's changed dramatically. Yes. What's 15 years from now going to look like?
AI.
Yeah.
Controlling. Well, you know what it's going to look like, honestly? The people who decided to build brands and decided to put the energy into developing these connections, they'll be fine, because that's how everything is moving. Like, technology is moving to voice prompts, voice commands, and you're going to say, hey, Siri, get me a pizza delivered. And then
you're going to do it.
You're not going to say the name of the brand. You're going to say, get me a pizza delivered. Yeah. The brands are going to be ranked based on their relevance, based on their quality, based on what's been put into the environment, the digital environment at that point. And that's the pizza that will get delivered to you. That's based on brand. That's not based on just having a pizza shop that exists.
So my earliest question to you was, how do we balance real life with this social media life?
Yeah.
And
there's no balance.
Yeah, what I'm gathering here is that there is no distinction anymore. Yeah. We've moved past the era where this is me online, this is me in real life, and I can live them separately. They're all intertwined.
This is the Matrix.
Yeah. There's no untangling this.
If you are extremely wealthy and you live a life that doesn't require consumers or an audience or any of the such, then yes, you can go on an island, or you can be on your own island in your home. And no, like, social media doesn't matter. But if you need people to support you, if you plan to do things that require purchases or consumers, followers, etc., then yes, in order to exist, you have to merge those two worlds.
I've got a huge follow-up then.
Oh boy. Get ready for it.
What about kids? When is the right age for kids?
That's a great question.
To have this social media presence?
What age do they get a phone?
You're asking me? 16.
So I feel like there are very personal morals and principles that have to be applied to that conversation based on your beliefs, your upbringing, your environment, etc.
You have kids, right?
Yes. I was going to say, with my kids, my daughter is 8. She's had a phone for probably 2 years. My son probably got his phone at he's 14, probably around the same age, 8 or 9. And my rationale is that I want my kids to be able to work technology better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the more experience they have with it, the better they'll be when that skill set becomes the only thing that matters. And we are headed there. Like, it is absolutely no doubt we are headed to a place where technology and your understanding of it will trump other skill sets. It's kind of like, welding or like plumbing.
Sure.
At once upon a time. So my thought process, because I'm in the space, is I want my kids to know how to operate. Now, do I monitor and manage it? And is there all type of parental guides and blocks and things like that? Absolutely. But my daughter know how to use YouTube. My son know how to use CapCut. Like, they are very, very familiar with the tools and the apps and how to navigate this device that we all know changed the world. And that's kind of like the way I look at it.
And they've begun social media profiles?
My son has had a social media profile since he was 3 that dad started because I was thinking about NIL deals. Back then, from basketball and
you are
football
ahead of the time.
And all those things. His account, this is actually a great story. my son had an account since he was 3. I mean, it was polished. Like, I put a lot of energy into videos. He had a few videos go viral, etc. He got up to like 8,000 followers. He was 10 years old. 10 years old.
Yeah.
So this is 5 years ago. 8,000 followers. This kid changes the email because I gave him access to his school email.
Oh no.
The school does not allow Instagram, Facebook, etc. In order to reset, the password had to be sent to the school email. The Instagram account was lost forever.
Oh my gosh.
Horrible story. But it's not end of the world stuff, right?
Sure.
Like it's not.
Hey,
that big of a
perseverance.
deal.
Yeah.
But I say that to say the profile was more about awareness, exposure. If you're in the NIL space, you understand that a lot of these kids are achieving crazy success beyond even playing professionally or what have you. And I saw it, like with AAU and like these different things. I seen where the wheel was turning. I didn't realize it would be what it is now. But in terms of using the platforms to get the extra attention, like I was definitely on that.
Is there any way that early representation of him later in life could be a negative?
It's possible. But in this world, there's a lot of things that can be a negative, right? Like sending your kid to school, to a public school versus sending them to a private school. Or, do you allow them to watch PG movies or just G movies? Mm-hmm. I feel like the conversation around what's right and wrong for our kids is very similar to like, is it cool to eat McDonald's and Burger King versus eating all organic and healthy?
Yep.
Like how does that
Where are you
going to
draw the line? Yeah.
And then you have conversation with like people that's 85, 90 years old who've been smoking cigarettes all their life and never thought about the food they eat.
Right.
And the extremely healthy person at 50 has a heart attack on the treadmill.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I feel like you have to do what you can do based on your knowledge and experience, and gotta let the rest, leave the rest up to the higher powers or the higher beings, so to speak. So,
Robert Courtney Collins, we could talk all day, but we can't.
Such a good conversation.
You're a busy
thanks,
man.
Yeah, man, it's so good.
This has been great. Thank you for being here. Thank you for answering our questions.
Man.
Thanks for talking us through. And then you're just going to run the Weatherboys Instagram page now for us. Is that the takeaway here?
Hey, we can definitely talk about it. And I love the shirt, by the way. That's a nice
a brand.
I'm about to say
there it is.
The Weatherboys.
There it is.
For our listeners, I'm wearing a Weatherboys shirt.
Love it.
Robert, thank you so much for being here, man.
Absolutely. Got to do it again.
How can people follow? How can people find you?
You guys have done a great job of branding the name, Robert Courtney Collins, across all platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find me active on all of those.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Thanks,
you can
man.
find us, the Weatherboys, on YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Fox Local. Look us up. All of our content is there.
And Derek will be playing in the charity game with us, I believe this July.
Sometime in July, I'm available.
Details to come.
Have Diamond hit you up.
Uh-huh.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
Peace. That was good,
Great,
fellas.
man.